Hey, football fans, this is Gary Greene, longtime sports handicapper and professional sports bettor here in Las Vegas for the past 35 years. And this is your Thursday night NFL week number 12 prime video matchup of the week as my Washington Commanders travel to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles, who are a 3.5 point favorite. And the total for this game is 48.5. And this game's for first place in the NFC East. Who would have thunk it come the start of this season? I surely didn't. And I'm a big Washington Commanders fan, but this team has really impressed me, and especially their young quarterback, Daniels. But when we look at the matchup for right now, we have the Washington offense, number 4 in the NFL, 377 yards per game. They have 290 points this year. Only the Ravens have scored more points than the Washington Commanders have. 29 points a game for Washington. And as far as the defense goes, it's just mid-pack. Not so great against the run, but I'll tell you what, this team has really turned it around from the last couple of seasons. They brought in some key veterans in Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner. Overall, the secondary gives up a few, maybe too many big plays. But overall, this team has really overexceeded expectations by a mile. So they're hanging in there. They're halfway through the season, and anything can happen the rest of the way. And if they win this game, they're going to be in it for a while, no doubt about that, because the schedule is going to get pretty easy near the end of it for the Washington Commanders. But they're only giving up 21 points a week, and if you give up 21 points a week in the NFL, you're going to hang in almost every single week. As far as the Eagles go, their offense number 6 in the league, 374 yards per game. The big difference in this offense this year compared to what happened in the collapse last year is rushing the football thanks to Saquon Barkley. By far the best free agent pickup of the offseason. This is a team right now, 176 rushing yards per game, and Barkley's the big reason why. They're having a decent year scoring points at 25 points per game. And the defense has moved up now to number 2 in the league as the youngsters get inserted into the secondary. They've had some injury problems, but the young kids have been the ones that have really picked up this defense. And they're playing fantastic. They're tackling fantastic. And finally, the Eagles are playing the way that everybody probably expected. When the season started, it was supposed to be the Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys, both vying to probably get about 12 to 13 wins. And the one that got to 13 wins was probably going to win the division. But now it's Dallas gone, Giants gone. It's all between Washington and Philadelphia. So this game has some really serious complications involved. Now, the Washington Redskins made a nice trade at the deadline to get Marcus Lattimore, the number 2 cornerback coverage-wise in the league. And they sorely need him in the lineup, but he's not going to be in there for this game. He will play his first game for the Commanders next week. So hate to see that. But I do want to see him fully healthy before he comes back on the field. As far as the Washington team coming into this game, though, to me, it's one of the worst losses. Just like 2 weeks ago, one of the greatest wins you could ever have is on a Hail Mary on the final play of the game. And they did that, and they beat the Bears, and they came into last week's game flying high, a game at home. They started the game off really playing well against Pittsburgh, had a 2-score lead, and then just couldn't make some big third downs. And, of course, if you watch the game, they missed their last play on offense by about an inch, and it looked like it was actually made by the tight end Ertz. But overall, the offense played well enough to win. The defense played well enough to win as well, but they both also played well enough to lose by 1 point, and that was a soul-crushing loss. I almost look at that loss. Nobody's talking about it because it's Pittsburgh and they're a good team, but 28-27 isn't really the real story. The real story is that they stopped Pittsburgh on their last drive, had an opportunity. They used the timeouts perfectly to get the ball back with 55 seconds left. Let's say they get the ball back around the 20-yard line. They have an opportunity to hit a couple of passes and give their field goal kicker a chance to win the game at the buzzer. And they were not able to do it, and they weren't able to do it because of a monster error. I don't know what could have transpired before the final timeout by Pittsburgh. They were never going to go for it on 4th down at the midfield, 4th and a yard and a half. If they got stopped there, that was almost going to end the game, and they were going to end up losing the game. So no way Tomlin, the way the defense was playing in the second half, was going to go for it on 4th down there. But the young guy got in there, and boy, he fell quickly, hook, line, and sinker, and jumped right across the line of scrimmage, right on the first hut. and that was the game, and they didn't even get an opportunity. And it would have been fun to see what Jaden Daniels could have done again for a back-to-back week on a final drive to see if he could have led him team to back-to-back games. And I would have wins in back-to-back games. I would have believed he would have got it done because this kid has just got ice in his veins. But this is a situation right now, and the 3 losses for Washington, they allowed 37, 30, and 28. And if they get into giving up in the 30s in this game against Philadelphia, I think this might be a tough one because they are the one going on the road in the short week. And then adding to the devastation is coming off of that soul-crushing loss last week. Those games like that, those losses like that are hard to bounce back from on a normal week, but on a short week even tougher. So they have lost 2 of those 3 games this year by a touchdown or less. So they have not fallen behind. That's one thing about Washington. They've never been way behind, really. They've been in the games all year long, and so there's been nothing to really get a little bit nervous about. And overall, the offense and the defense have both contributed enough that they have a nice 7-3 record coming into this game. Now, since the loss to Tampa Bay, they did have solid wins on the road at Cincy, at Arizona, who we see has a pretty nice team right now, and they lost a close game by just a touchdown to Baltimore. So they have fared well on the road, so I don't think they're going to be intimidated here by any means. Now, Philadelphia coming in red hot, 5 straight wins. There was bad talk about the coach, maybe cutting him loose if they continue to struggle. We all know how they finished the second half of last year, absolutely abysmal. But, when we look at their 3 home games this year, it's not like home field advantage, and it is a good advantage there. The Philly crowd is fantastic. But the lights are going out there on us. But the 3 home games, they lost by 1 to Atlanta. They won by 4 versus Cleveland. They won by 3 against Jacksonville. So, again, not pulling away from anybody thus far this year at home. When we look at the defense or the offense in the quarterback spot again for the Washington Commanders, Daniels, he is looking right now to me only still about 80% healthy. And how do I know that? I mean, he's shorted throws where he didn't do that all year in the beginning of the year until he got hurt with the bad ribs. And then on top of it, the situation right now, he's only carried it 3 times last week for 5 yards. 8 times the week before that for 35 yards. So they kind of lost a huge extra weapon with him running with the ball. They're not RPOing much with him now. They're just trying to keep him out of harm's way. And again, this is a short week. If they can get through this game somehow without getting him hurt, he's going to get some 3-4 day extra rest, which is exactly what he needs for the final stretch run. But again, this is a tough game here. And if he can't do that against Philadelphia, the way the secondary's come up so big of late with these young guys, he's going to have his work cut out for him for sure. When we look at this game, though, Hurts looks like he's finally playing a lot more healthier. He was the guy with the bad leg, and he was looking really, really bad. And I know when I watch these games on tape, you can tell the difference of guys that are playing real tentative. And when you play tentative, you get sacked a lot. He got sacked ad nauseum a couple of times there. The offensive line wasn't playing too great, but good news for the offensive line for Philadelphia. One of their top linemen is going to return for this game, and that's always a big help when you have one of your key veteran players coming back and adding to a team that's starting to move in the right direction. That's as good as it gets. But he's been sacked 5 times, 3 times, and 4 times 3 of the last 4 weeks. Washington has been playing a lot better of late, rushing the quarterback. Dante Fowler's having a comeback player type of the year. This guy was written off for dead, and he's been unbelievable for this team. For the most part, their weakness is against the run, and just the tackling isn't fantastic. The spacing's a little bit off, but they're trying to overly help the secondary. So they're playing a little bit back, and they're letting teams get a little bit of a chance to get a push with the offensive line. And if the Philadelphia Eagles can get a good push with Barkley, he's going to be the toughest running back almost that they faced. Although they did do a pretty decent job against Henry of Baltimore, so they have the opportunity to slow him down. Frankie Louisville has been a beast, and right now Payne is playing lights out, getting into the backfield and really loading up, stopping the guys in the middle. It's the stuff on the edges that they've been getting beat for some big gainers. let's see, what do we got here? We have Philadelphia again, though. With a win, they will be in the driver's seat because 4 of their last 5 games are at home. As far as the Washington team goes, the reason they're in these games week in and week out, even though they have a rookie quarterback, he hasn't played like it, and this team does not turn the ball over. They're number 1 in the league, only 4 turnovers all year. If they do not turn the ball over in this game, they will win this game. But, again, this is a tough environment to play. The Eagles' secondary, to me, has been very impressive the last couple of weeks, and I'm hoping that maybe even it's a short week that Daniels is coming in a little bit better with the ribs because, again, he short-balled too many passes in the last couple weeks since that injury, and that's changed the dynamic of this offense, and the opposing defenses are picking up on that. You can tell Pittsburgh really picked up on it and did some fantastic second-half adjustments to be able to win that game and have a nice comeback to get that win on the road, no less. But this is going to be a game that may end up deciding the NFC East because if the Washington Commanders can win this game, they have a kind of easy schedule at the end of the year as well. So it's going to be a 2-team race all the way to the end. I think whoever wins this game's got a huge leg up, especially if it's Philadelphia, because their last 5 games are really against the Sisters of the Poor. But if Washington can steal a game here on the road and then get extra rest and then get Lattimore back, that's going to be a big difference down the road. Again, it's not going to help them in this game against Philadelphia on Thursday night. And this is my birthday tomorrow, 11/14. We're going to hope for a little birthday luck for the Washington Commanders. But again, I'll pass betting this game. This game, I think, I'd lean to the Eagles winning the game. But again, so far this year, they haven't had the propensity to win by big margins, and so I'd be a little leery of laying that hook, especially in this ball game. So enjoy this Thursday night football game, and don't forget to check out all our other videos here at Gary Wins. And if you want to check out me to ask me a question at any time, you can email me at garygreenwins@gmail.com. And we've had a fantastic season, and hopefully we can continue to bring you as much more positive videos with helpful information so that if you don't have the time to do the homework, we're doing it for you. Have a great weekend, everybody. May all your wagers be winning ones.